still too close to call. Correspondent Joe Khalil joins us live from tonight's rally. So, Joe, what can you tell us?
Well, we're waiting to see when President Trump takes the stage. He's expected around 8 o'clock Eastern time, Nicole. You can feel the energy here, which is pretty typical at a Trump rally. But I can tell you, I think it speaks to how important this race is to both sides. That the former president decided to come here to Ohio and stump for JD Vance one day before the election. You're right, the polls do start to favor Vance, at least in the last couple of days. But I've been talking to both campaigns throughout the day, and both feel like they still got a really good shot at it. Before Republican voters go to the polls in Ohio, they'll get one final push from former President Donald Trump. One more rally in the Buckeye State for U.S. Senate candidate JD Vance. The Republican and political newcomer has the edge in polls, but it's still a close race. Rallygoers tell NewsNation they think Trump can push their voters to the polls.
Well, I think his backing is going to be critical in the race. I think just being here shows a lot of support for him.
Many Trump-Vance supporters told us they'd rather hear both talk about future policies tonight rather than focus on the 2020 election.
I think it's time to move on and talk about what he's going to do to fix America.
Vance himself is running as a businessman, political outsider, who says Democratic opponent Tim Ryan claims to be moderate but is beholden to his party.
Now, Tim Ryan, of course, has supported all of these policies 100% of the time, and this really is the contrast on these economic issues between Tim Ryan and myself.
How do you respond when he brings that up?
It's been very frustrating campaign for JD because he wants people to think I'm somebody that I'm not. I have taken on my own party. I ran against Nancy Pelosi.
Ryan tells us he's run his campaign on Ohio issues, working, he says, to get money into Ohioans' pockets by pushing for a tax cut. And Ryan says recent polls showing him behind don't scare him.
These polls are garbage, really. I mean, we have been on the ground, and I'm telling you, like, we have a significant number of Republicans that are voting for us.
So I told you we've been talking to both campaigns. We also talked to a lot of voters, Democratic voters and a lot of the Republican voters that are here behind us today. They have a couple things in common. Everyone is concerned about inflation, the high costs of things. They want to see their candidates address that. We also heard from both sides some form of concern about government being broken. They think that right now Washington just isn't getting a lot of solutions for the problems they see in their daily lives. They say they want both, whoever candidate, whichever one wins, to really think about that and address that if they end up in Washington, Nicole.
All right. And, Joe, there's some reporting from our partners at the Hill that the former president, of course, talking about President Trump, could potentially make a very big announcement at that very rally tonight.
So almost every single speaker that we've heard so far has referenced him doing that. We're seeing it floated on Twitter. You listen to the crowd, there's a lot of speculation about whether he's going to do that. What I can tell you is that the former president in just recent rallies has hinted at making an announcement, but hasn't actually gone as far and done it. He said in the Pennsylvania rally that he might make an announcement, but he wanted to hold off out of respect to Dr. Oz because the event was supposed to be for him. But we will see, because, again, a lot of Trump's allies that we've heard take the stage just a little while ago are all referencing it. This crowd would erupt if he were to do that. So let's see when he takes the stage if he actually makes it official.
Yeah, and we're talking about a 2024 presidential run, so we will see. All right, Joe, thank you for that.
Yeah.